Hey, this is John Shea, and you're listening to the Out of the Rat Race podcast, a fun educational podcast brought to you by LI RIA. LI RIA is a real estate networking organization comprised of top quality rated leaders in the professional world of real estate investing. LI RIA offers education, funding services tailored to fit real estate investors' needs, access to professionals, and a mentorship program with a proven industry track record of success. So sit back, relax, and get ready to hear the lessons, stories, and opportunities we provide that have helped and continue to help people just like you get out of the rat race and find financial independence through real estate investing. Hey guys, it's John Shea, and today I'm joined with a young man based out of Pensacola, Florida. He's a contractor, wholesaler, investor, artist, and puzzle master. He's also a business partner of mine. Welcome, Logan Martin. How are you doing?
Hey, good. And yourself, John?
Excellent. So I'm going to start today by asking you like a gray area question. All right, just a basic question. How many people on average do you believe it takes to build a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house?
There's a lot of factors to be able to put into that question.
Here we go. This is where it's going to start. Well, how many people on average would you say it takes to build a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house? Just a rough number.
30 to 40 people.
30 to 40 people. All right. I'm glad you said that. So I've been, I think I told you before, I've been taking walks every morning, try to get healthy and stuff like that and try to clear my head. And unfortunately, that's a dangerous thing for me because without listening to music or without listening to anything else and walking around and thinking, I just start overanalyzing and overthinking every single thing. So anyway, I was walking around looking at houses in the neighborhood this morning, and I was trying to guess in my head how many people it took to build the houses as well as how long it probably took for the construction. And so like for a basic 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, I was coming up with like 20 to 25 people. You know, you have more numbers in there. That's fine. You have more realistic numbers, but I think we're both very unrealistic in our numbers. Because as I was walking, I came across one of the houses and, you know, their garbage was out of the curb and everything like that because garbage day is tomorrow here in Maryland. And there was a 2x4 sitting next to the trash cans, you know, one freaking single 2x4. And down the rabbit hole I went, man. I swear, I was like, somebody cut that down. It used to be a tree. Someone loaded it onto a truck. Another person brought it to a mill. 4 or 5 guys ended up cutting all those trees. Was loaded onto a different truck, went to Home Depot or a lumber yard, tagged and everything like that. And then somebody bought it and brought it to a house, you know? And I was like, wow, that's probably like 10 people that just did maybe 10 of those 2x4s. You know what I mean?
Just to get it to just before you're getting it to the job site.
Just before it got to you. Yep. So it's like that with so many different things in the house. The paint, you know, there's chemicals and stuff like that. You know, sheetrock, roofing, shingles, meter pans, wires, light fixtures, plumbing materials, so on and so forth. And they're all random pieces to a puzzle, right? And then you gather all of these pieces, which were created and facilitated by thousands of people from around the world, and put them perfectly together to create a piece of art that'll benefit like one, if not several family throughout the years. And that's why when I introduced you, I said, you know, puzzle master. Yeah. Because that's essentially what you do. I mean, you're the creator in your head of what you do, you know, the end product. Everything ends with you. I want to find out what brought you to that point. So we met like 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Correct. Yep. It's been a couple of years.
It's been quite a couple of years. So start at the beginning. What led you up to where we met? Like the story of Logan Martin. There's a lot
that entails. I mean, you want me to go? How far back you want me to go?
What year were you born?
Getting into the industry, or
what year were you born? Where'd you grow up? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in '98. I was born late '90s.
Okay.
But I mean, I was born in Pensacola. Grew up down in St. Pete, Tampa area. Ended up moving back to Pensacola about 4 or 5 years ago. Was running a successful construction company down in Tampa. It got too overpopulated. Got too much for me, so I ended up moving back closer to my family in Pensacola, and I've been here now since.
Pensacola is where I was born, actually. You know that.
Oh yeah,
I've mentioned it quite a couple of times. Big Navy base, right? I was a Navy
exactly.
baby.
Yep,
Yep.
Navy Town.
Navy town.
So it's just, I mean, it comes back to, I mean, finally ended up getting here back in 2020. Ended up with shutting everything down. Wasn't going to do construction anymore. Was just going to kind of stick in the stock market and play around in that industry, and totally be done with it because of all the stress and the, like you say, the puzzles, the pieces it takes to put that together. It's overwhelming sometimes, especially when you're running it at a large scale.
Right.
So but then the hurricane hit and got back into it in Pensacola. And
Which hurricane?
ever since then,
There's always a hurricane in Florida.
Hurricane Sally back in 2020.
Okay.
Right during COVID time, everything happened. Ended up moving back, and 2 months after I moved back to Pensacola is when I ended up got hit by the hurricane, and ended up getting right back in the industry. Everyone that knew me was asking me to help do things with them, and it just kind of exploded back from there. And now have doubled the size of the company from what it was in Tampa.
Really? What actually got you into doing this? Because, I know a little bit about you. I know that you built orphanages.
Correct.
I've talked to your mother. Your mother's involved in the business. You've been to India.
Yep.
And what did you do in India?
In India, it was started out funny because of the first time I ended up going out there was with the breakdance crew with the church.
Breakdance? You breakdance?
Did break dance, choreography dance, yeah.
Not for the Australian Olympics team, clearly.
No. It's nothing. It was something I did growing up. I mean, as a teenager, that's what I was doing. Had a little bit of fun doing it.
Oh, thank you for admitting that. I can't wait for the next time I see you. I'm throwing a piece of cardboard down on the ground, man. I'd love to see you spinning on the floor.
No more dancing for me. So it's all business now.
Okay.
But that was the first time I ended up getting real involved with Good News India. Out of and they're based out of the United States, right. But they would go through, and Dr. Rahman would go through and help those people, and he worked with a bunch of different people here in the States to be able to provide orphanages and raise the funds to be able to do it. And we got the many opportunities in different locations to be able to build multiple orphanages with them.
Really? Is that your first experience with construction?
That was not. So I mean, I ended up growing up I had a landscape business growing up. That's any young kid, 11, 12 years old, started doing lawns and landscaping for people. Ended up doing it until I was about 16, 17 years old. And one of my guys that actually worked for me, I ended up, having to hire people. Got so busy, I was hiring people to work for me at 16, 17 years old. So right. A lot of people thought it was weird. You had these 30, 40-year-old guys working for a 16, 17-year-old, And so I was able to turn around and basically one of the guys that was working for me, his brother was involved in the construction, doing property preservation during all the foreclosures, everything going on. So that was a big thing that stepped me into the construction, was from out of the landscape into the construction, was doing the property preservation, going in with these foreclosed properties and doing whatever repairs that were needed to be able to get the bank to be able to put them on the market. Right. So that was the big first step in learning and getting into it.
Okay. How many guys do you have working for you right now?
Currently, we have over 60 guys.
And you're 28. You're 28 years old.
Yes.
28.
Yep.
You manage over 60 guys. And
correct.
And as a result of doing that for many years, you're fluent in Spanish, because the first time I met you, you were speaking
something
to the guys.
Like
yeah, something
Spanglish.
Like that. Spanglish. And they all respect you. You do parties with them. I think you were telling me last time that you brought them to Adventureland or a Dave and Buster's?
The last time we had was down in Orlando when we finished the hotel build that we did. That's what we took out all the guys, just, finished up the job early and took them out one Friday night, and something they've never experienced. They've never gone out and done go-karts and laser tag and arcade. And I mean, these are all 30, 40, 50-year-old guys, and they've just never experienced it in their life. And it's something that take advantage, we take it for granted because of that's how we grew up. We're here from the States. A lot of the guys that work for me are Hispanic, and they've just, they've came over to try to make their life better for their family, and they've never been able to go out and do those fun things. They've just been straight work, so it's a nice experience to be able to do that and take them and see the reaction to be able to, different things, open them up to a little bit of fun versus just working all the time.
Yeah. And I think you were telling me that you were murdering them all in laser tag. Is that right?
Oh yeah. No, it was
there
nice.
was no competition. You would just
no competition at all.
That's awesome. So how many houses do you think you and your guys have done, throughout the years?
Throughout the year, I'd say, because I say I've been fully operating almost 10 years in the construction, about 9, 10 years fully operating in the construction from start to finish now. And I would easily say we've done probably about 3 to 4 thousand single family houses, along with about 3 to 4 thousand apartment units, not complexes, because we've done over 20 apartment complexes.
Right.
Been able to go in and restructure them and renovate them and get, going in for the increase the NOI on the properties. But that was a big thing. It's because it's two different worlds,
Yeah.
So it's hard to say exactly how many, but have done a ton,
Yeah.
And then also in the commercial world too, with build outs of restaurants and hotels and et cetera. So pet stores and stuff like that.
What do you love about it? Like, what's your passion with it?
If I said it, it just sounds greedy.
It's the money.
The money.
Yeah.
It's the money.
And that's okay. That's okay. So what's your goal? What are you working towards?
Goal is just the financial independence. That's the big thing. It's always been for me. That's why I believe, and I tell everyone, I'm not a contractor. I dabble in that world to be able to fulfill every other thing that we need to do. So if someone sat there as a contractor and that's all they did their entire life, they'd never make enough money to be able to retire until they were 60, 65, 70 years old. So my big thing is getting it and be able to use that construction to leverage on all the investment that we're able to make through the years, and we've really been able to make since meeting you guys.
Right. And did you go to school for finances and stuff like that, or did you just pick it up along the way? Because all of the terminologies and how to negotiate and everything like that.
So it started. Back in high school, that's what I did. I was my high school offered finance, so that's what I ended up taking. Throughout the 4 years in high school, I was in the finance program. Ended up learning different things in there. That's really what got me into the numbers, and I love numbers. I'm a very throw anything at me and I'm going to figure it out numbers wise, or any solution, any problem to be able to solve it. But and then since then I've also taken hundreds of classes and seminars and you name it, I've done it, and that's what's been able to push me and be able to experience it overall.
Right. So what fascinates me about you, and I've told you this before, is you don't let anything get in your way.
No.
So I've brought you up to Connecticut, we've brought you to Alabama, and you don't see any obstacles. You're like, okay, I'm going to get my license here. Yep. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3 for you. You're like, oh yeah, it's no problem. We'll get it taken care of.
Yep.
And
exactly.
You just go in there and Loganize it. What in your head makes you not see any obstacles? I know that's a difficult question.
I'm just a very stress-free person. I don't let anything. I don't want I tell my guys every single day, I'm like, look, I'm the problem solver. That's what I'm here to do. Y'all are here. You guys are experienced in doing all these different things. Let me solve the issue. Let me find out the problem. That's what I enjoy doing, because if I get a task thrown at me or something thrown at me like, oh, you can't do this, well, we're going to go 10 times harder to make sure that's able to get done. So you got to look at everything, in the light of there's a solution for every problem. That's how it is. We go through with every, task in our daily life, and there's always going to be something to be able to solve it, and a lot of people just let that sit there and hinder them and, push them back and stress them out. And that's just something I don't do. Everything's very stress free for me. And, any problem can be solved. Yeah.
So you have no fear of going in, working with the permit people. You have no fear of just how do you just go and get a license in a different state with no issues whatsoever?
You just start going at it. Just figure out what you got to do, contact them, and get everything that you need to do, classes, tests, fees, insurances, whatever, because there's so many, and people don't realize it, is there's so many different, you can have a state license, in it's like state of Florida, but then they also want you to have one in every single county or every single city. Every jurisdiction is totally different. So we've dealt with so many, and being licensed in 18 states currently, we have 18 state licenses, but then we also have about 40 city and county licenses or registered contractor licenses in different areas, so it's kind of something that you do it so much, and you're so used to it that it's just like, okay, throw it at me, let me know what I need to do, and we'll get it taken care of.
Right. Amazing. And the way you find deals, because you're a wholesaler too. And
correct.
I'm not going to say the address, but we've done quite a couple properties together in Pensacola, right?
Yeah.
And you said that people will just come up to you and be like, Hey, you want to buy my house too?
Yep.
And
Yep.
do you go door to door like, hey, I'm Logan. I'm working on this house next door. Let me know if there's any issues. And they're like, oh, yeah, buy my house, please. And then you said there's other people that are like, wow, you've brought up the value of our homes just by doing that.
Exactly. So yeah, the big thing, I mean, is I'm big on reputation. There's always, you have good reputation, you have bad reputation. So when you end up doing it and you're sitting in these neighborhoods, in these communities, and bringing the neighborhood up, a lot of these people see that, and then they want to talk to you, or they want to ask you about, it's all networking. So they want to, hey, can you do this for me, or can you help me with this, or do you know someone that can do this? So it's a big thing. It's a conversation starter. So when we're doing it, we find hundreds of deals just by putting out a quality product, and the neighborhood seeing it and being able to be, who's the owner of this property, or who's the contractor on this property, and then it gets more and more in depth. Right. So we get tons of deals just off of putting a quality product out there.
Right. And so 3,000 properties, wholesaling, everything that you do, putting the puzzle pieces together as fast as you can, because you do them unbelievably quick. And there's a system to that. And
exactly.
Like, what's your system? I know that you have paint colors. That's the paint color you use. You buy crates, like shipping crates of kitchens and countertops, and it's like an A, B, and C model type house.
Exactly.
So it's your systems that really allow you to do this stuff, correct?
Correct. And it's all about building that system, getting it where it's streamlined. And that's what it took years to be able to get it there, and all the trials and errors, we go through it every single day, is like, what's the best way to get this? What's the fastest way to put out the same quality product? Because everyone always says you can get it cheap, you can get it fast, or you can get the quality. So you can only pick two. You can't pick all three, So when you go through and do that, what we try to hit all three of them. That's our biggest goal, is to hit all three of them. And 99% of the time we do. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. You can still be able to do it all, but you got to put that system and be able to streamline it in that place if you're wanting to go through, especially like investment properties, to be able to do something like that. So we went through it over the years, where we were letting investors go through and pick their own stuff and do this. Right. And it got crazy because everyone was wanting to just, make it like they were going to live there. And then like, no, you're going to rent this house out. You're going to sell it. You shouldn't care what it looks like. We'll put different little accents, or we'll put little features in there to make it like it's its own. But 90% of the stuff in the house is going to be the same as the next house. So you can go through a lot of the counties and the states that we end up working in, and you can be like, Logan's guys did that. Logan's guys did that house, because a lot of the stuff in the house is exactly the same. But the good thing is we don't cookie cutter them. They're cookie cutter in our way. They're not cookie cutter because they're none of them are next door to each other. They're in totally different neighborhoods and different states and stuff. So that doesn't matter, in that aspect. But that's huge with it, is the process. You got to figure out the best process to be able to do it in.
Yeah, and that's one of the amazing things about you is when I first met you, I think it was at South C Street. Was it South C Street? It's a 8-unit complex.
Yep.
And I walked in and I met you, and I was asking you about the materials and the colors and everything, and you said, I'm going to tell you right now, I'll tell you a price. You can't pick anything. And what was amazing to me is that's what I used to tell the investors when I was doing the flips. Because I used to get so aggravated being held up on a job, not being able to complete it on time, and them over fixing the house. Like
exactly
a gaudy chandelier, nobody's going to buy that. You know what I mean? That's the backsplash that you like. That's great. That's not what it needs. And you just firmed, I'll tell you the price, let me do my work. And
exactly.
And I trusted you, and you do it. And it's unbelievable.
It's a take it or leave it situation,
Yeah. You're like, I don't need to be doing this right now, but I'm going to help you out. And
exactly.
So now we're partners. And, you, me, Melissa, Anthony, we're doing work all over the place. And it's great to have you on the team. It really is. And for all you listeners out there, if you want Logan's information, tough crap. If you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, I am Gollum and he is the ring and he is my precious. So if you need to get in touch with him, you're going to have to get in touch with Melissa, Anthony, or myself, and we'll set that up for you. Because
gatekeeping, huh?
I'm the gatekeeper, man. I'm the gatekeeper of this. But is there any advice that you would give the listeners who are starting out and want to do what you do? Like, do you offer any kind of personal mentoring Do you?
Oh, the big thing is, I mean, and that's why I'm looking at, getting more involved in more of LIREA, stuff like that, is because of I'd like to be able to help people, mentor people in that direction, be able to be financially independent, because of I've been able to do it. I have a bad past, what's came from where I came from to where I am now. You'd be like, that never happened. So a lot of people talking about walking in the shoes. You've
Right.
never walked in my shoes. I've walked in your shoes before. Trust me.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing for it. So, I mean, really just want to go through and be able to help people for sure. And going through, especially with LIREA, maybe we can get that expanded out a little bit more than it is now.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Then we can go that way.
And talking about walking in your shoes, I told you before, originally what I wanted to call this podcast was Logan Martin, from pickup truck to cleaning up, because you lived in your pickup for a while, didn't you?
Correct. I had a few months where ended up, after everything happened, I got screwed over multiple times by different investors, people doing houses for down in Tampa, just left and right. If it can happen, it will happen. So over the years, I've had over $10 million in jobs that people haven't paid. So I had one point in time where I had 32 guys running in Tampa and got screwed over for building 3 new construction houses, never got paid. And it really threw a big wrench in things. So I ended up it was either shut down and, figured out, go work a 9 to 5, or I ended up giving up my house, and ended up having to get rid of a bunch of the guys. And I kept a small crew of guys and was able to go through and work with them to be able to build back up. So it took me about 3 or 4 months of sitting there and being homeless and showering at a job site, and literally sleeping in the truck every single night of the week.
Planet Fitness shower every morning.
Exactly. And I mean, that's and it took that, and it's those trials and tribulations that you go through, and that's what it's made me today. So I've been through it, I've seen it and experienced it, and I've been able to build, a real estate empire, multiple companies since then, and that's been 7 years ago. That happened to me 6-7 years ago.
Right.
So, and then, and since then, I mean, it's just constantly not letting those things affect you and stop you in your tracks has been able to let me grow and experience those things, being at the bottom and then being able to get all the way up to the top.
Gotcha.
So,
Unbelievable story, man. I definitely have to have you on the show again. Logan, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to actually come on and talk. It's always a pleasure, and I think we're going to see each other, in like a week?
Yes, very soon. Very soon.
Yeah. Very soon. We've been seeing each other a hell of a lot more lately. But again, thank you for coming on. Guys, if you have any questions, please write on the website, outoftheratracepodcast.com, and I'll make sure Logan gets those, and maybe he'll even give you a call.
Perfect.
Guys, I learned a lot today by going for a walk to clear my head, that you can't just clear your head without also filling it, apparently, with appreciation for a bunch of things that you would normally never think about. A 2x4, for example. Take some time out of your day and realize that things you do in your life may be part of a bigger picture, and somebody like Logan might be putting together that picture. I'd like to thank you, Logan, once again for joining me today.
Of course, thank you.
Special thanks to everyone that helps me with the show, and especially you guys for listening. Go to outoftheratracepodcast.com and send some questions if you have any. Until next time, love you guys. Peace.